everyone, it's Taylor here. Today we're going to make this cute set of cow cards using several Tailored Expressions products. I'll be using our blender brushes. You can see them here stored in my blender brush storage caddy that spins around and makes it really quick and easy to grab exactly what color you want. I'll also be using a few different stencils. Here I have the Rectangle Designer Masking Stencil. It comes with two sizes in one set and has those etched alignment guides so that you can easily center your paper underneath that stencil opening. I'll also be showing you the cloud stencil strips and how you can use those to create a beautiful cloudy backdrop for just about any scene you'd like to create. I'll also be using the Build-A-Scene Rolling Hills, and one that I forgot to picture is the Build-A-Scene Farm Fence that fits that same rolling hill shape. Here I have the If Cows Could Talk stamp and die combo that has those 8 different faces that you can stamp within the cow depending on which sentiment you want to use. Then I'll be using purple tape to tape my stencil down and several different colors of ink. I'll be using the Lime Zest ink on the hill portion for all of the cards, and then I wanted to show you a comparison of blue inks. So from light to dark I have Saltwater Taffy, Confetti Cake, Sprinkles, Gumball, and Blue Raspberry. Before I start on the project, I want to talk a little bit more about the features of our blender brushes. So you can see here that our brush head size is consistent. They are all the same size brush head. I found it to be the most useful size for getting into small areas as well as covering large areas quickly and easily. They also have those super fine white bristles so that you can see the color of ink that you're applying. And you can see we've screen printed the word create onto each handle just to customize it for us crafters. Now, one other thing I wanted to talk about is the strength of our handle itself. So you can see here when I press on it, there's not a lot of give in that handle. That means that you're not going to have to rest your thumb on the top when you're blender brushing. You can just hold the handle and it's going to be nice and sturdy for you. Now I do have a couple of other brushes here that I have purchased elsewhere. You can see I didn't intend to break this actually on the video, but I have broken these before, and you can see I broke that one right there just by bending it. Now this other one that I have in my hand here does bend almost all the way in half, making it not very sturdy for applying the ink, and you're going to have to probably rest your thumb up on that brush head in order to get enough pressure to blend. So that is one of the features that I really appreciate about our rainbow blender brushes, just the sturdiness of the brush itself. So here I have, to start on the project, our rectangle stencil mask. This is the smaller size, and I've used those etched alignment guides to line my paper up in the 4 by 5 1/4 inch opening, meaning that that rectangle is perfectly centered on my project. Here I have a reverse mask that I've created by die cutting a piece of cardstock from the rolling hills, and I'm just going to use that in place over that opening to brush the hill across the cardstock. These are the cloud stencil strips that I mentioned. I'm going to take that smallest one with the Confetti Cake ink. Starting at the top, I blender brush across the stencil, then pull the stencil down and shift it left or right as I continue going down towards the bottom. The shifting is important because it's going to give you a little bit of variation in the pattern that you're adding so that your cloud isn't exactly the same. It looks more realistic that way if you're able to shift it left and right as you continue down. Now I wanted to show you a comparison of inks. So here I have the Saltwater Taffy ink, a little bit lighter than the Confetti Cake. Next I have the Sprinkles. That one is a little bit darker than the Saltwater Taffy and more of a true blue. Now this one is the Gumball, a little bit darker and more of a baby blue color. And last I have the Blue Raspberry, which is more of a dark teal color. So you can see those contrasted here as I hold them up into the screen, and you can kind of decide what best fits whatever project you are creating. So next I have the Toffee Ink, and I have die cut those farm fences, and I'm just brushing a little bit of Toffee ink over the Toffee cardstock in order to give it that touch of dimension that I think it needs. So here I have trimmed my farm fences to fit along the rolling hill that I have blender brushed onto my cardstock, and now I'm going to adhere those using a little bit of Tombow Mono Multi adhesive. Now if I was smart, I probably would have cut these with the Stick It adhesive already on the back of them, but I didn't do that, so I used a little bit of liquid glue there. Here I'm setting up my cow stamp in my MISTI, just stamping that down on the grid paper and using a negative of the die cut to place that down inside the MISTI and over the stamped image so that when I add those die cut pieces into that opening, they are all perfectly stamped. That makes mass production a lot easier for me. One of my favorite tips to give with the MISTI. Now here I have those faces that come with the If Cows Could Talk stamp set. You'll notice they all come together. They are meant to be trimmed apart, and they're quite easy to align within the opening on the cow itself, just with an acrylic block. I'm finishing those off by coloring with Copic marker in a few different colors. You can write those down here, or they will be in the description of this video if you would like to use the same colors that I used. I'm really not doing anything special with the blending for these, just some simple straight coloring with the Copic markers. Next, I'll be adding foam squares to the back of each cow and popping it up over the top of my blended scene, making sure that I place the cow towards the bottom to leave enough room for the sentiment in the sky area. I'll be setting up those sentiments in the MISTI. I have here the Muchas Gracias. I place that down where I think I want it and then pick it up with the lid, and this is where I'm able to adjust that sentiment so that it's perfectly straight along the grid line of that hinged lid so that I make sure my sentiment is stamped straight within the opening. Here I have the sentiment, "Let's party till the cows come home," so I wanted to color the party hat to go on top of his head. There is no coordinating die for the party hat, so after I finish coloring this with Copics, I'm just going to trim that out with my detail scissors and use a little strip of foam tape to pop that up over the top of his head. There's also a cute cowbell in this set that would be really cute to add to these little cows. I'm finishing it off with "You're Moveless" and "I love you dairy much." There's really a great variety of sentiments in this one set. I ended up with 2 birthday cards, a thank you card, and 2 kind of I love you type sentiments. I'm going to score these with my Score Buddy now and crease the card bases down the center. I chose 5 different colors that I thought coordinated well with the blended skylines that I did. I have candy corn, cherry pop, blue raspberry, jelly donut, and confetti cake. And now I'm just using my tape runner to adhere those to the card bases and finish them off. If you've got someone in your life who would enjoy one of these cute cow cards, you can find all of the supplies to recreate this set at tailoredexpressions.com.